his full name, Senator Barack Hussein Obama, became the first African American to be elected President of the United States of America. On February 10, 2007, Obama had announced his candidacy for President of the United States in front of the old state Capitol building in Springfield, Illinois. The choice of the announcement site was viewed as symbolic because it was also where Abraham Lincoln delivered his historic House Divided speech in 1858. Obama emphasized issues of rapidly ending the Iraqi war, increasing energy independence, and reforming the health care system in a campaign that projected themes of hope and change. Numerous candidates entered the Democratic Party presidential primaries. The field narrowed to a duel between Obama and Senator Hillary Clinton after early contest, with the race remaining close throughout the primary process, but with Obama gaining a steady lead in pledged delegates due to better long-range planning, superior fundraising, dominant organizing in caucus states, and better exploitation of delegates allocation rules. On the 7th of June 2008, Clinton ended her campaign and endorsed Senator Obama. Hillary Clinton called for her supporters to endorse Obama, and she and Bill Clinton gave convention speeches in his support. John McCain was nominated as the Republican candidate, and he selected Sarah Palin as her running mate. The two candidates engaged in 3 presidential debates in September and October of 2008. On 4th November, Obama won the presidency with 365 electoral votes, the Electoral College votes, to 173 received by McCain. Obama won 52.9% of the popular vote to McCain's 45.7%. Obama delivered his victory speech before hundreds of thousands of supporters in Chicago's Green Park. Yes. Then let's look at this. When we look at this, we'll go on a short break. We'll come back to talk about our national issues. On the 5th of November 2006, former president of Iraq, Saddam Hussein, and his co-defendants were sentenced to death for their roles in a massacre of 148 persons in 1982. Hussein, former president of Iraq, and his co-defendants, Barzan Ibrahim al-Takriti and Awad Ahmed al-Bandar, were sentenced to death in the Al-Dujal trial for their roles in the 1982 massacre of 148 Shiite Muslims. The execution in Dujal were the primary charges for which Saddam Hussein was hanged on the 30th of December 2006. At 1 a.m. on 13 December 2006, Bazan Hassan, Saddam's half-brother and former Iraqi intelligence chief, and Awad Bandar, former head of Iraqi Revolutionary Court, were escorted from their cells and told by their American guards that they were to be executed at dawn, with Saddam 9 hours later. They were returned to their cells as Iraqi authorities had decided to execute Saddam alone. They were both later hanged on 15 January 2007 for aiding and abetting, a crime against humanity, for naming the suspected Dawa party members to be arrested. Barzan Hassan was decapitated when he was hanged due to the wrong measurement of the rope. On January 25, 2010, Saddam's first cousin, Al-Hassan al-Majid, was hanged. Later, Taha Yassin Ramadan, Saddam's former deputy and vice president, who as national commander of the Popular Army had command responsibility, was likewise charged with aiding and abetting for arresting Dawa members and raising the orchards. Ramadan was executed on March 20, 2007, the fourth and last man in the Al-Dujal trial to die by hanging for crimes against humanity. By going on this short break, I want to come back. We'll open our lines so you can make your contributions, but this time we'll look at the Abacha government. We'll start from there. The program remains the issues in perspective, and I'm your anchor, Mbum Ferdinand. Please stay with us.
Politics, power, discover what it all means. It's a class on history, a guide to today. From national debates to global diplomacy.
The phone is.
This is Alice's in perspective with Mbum Ferdinand. On Rhythm 93.7 Jaws. Morning clarity Monday through Wednesday, 9 a.m. Putting the news in context.
Yeah, welcome back. The number to call is 08064641536. Please place your calls and make your contributions. For now, we'll go to national issues. I wanted us to look at the assassination of Newswatch journalist Delegiwa in 1986. But there's another issue. This one is one of the issues of November. On November 17 in 1993, Abacha took over government from NS Shonekon. Let's look at that first. Then we'll go back to the October events, looking at the assassination of Delegiwa. On the 17th of November 1993, please, we're expecting your calls. You could call while we're still talking about this. The number is 08064641536. On 17th of November 1993, in Nigeria, chairman of Nigeria's Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Sani Abacha, overthrew the civilian interim national government of Chief Ernest Shonekon in a military coup in Abuja. General Abacha, being the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, was the most senior official within the military hierarchy and was also in complete control of the military following the departure of the erstwhile military leader, General Ibrahim Babangida. General Abacha forced the interim president, Chief Ernest Shonekon, to hand over. In his nationwide broadcast, Abacha cited the socio-political uncertainties under the interim national government as the cause of Chief Shonekon's resignation. But in truth, Chief Shonekon never resigned. He was forced to sign his resignation. Now let's hear the Abacha speech. Let's listen to the Abacha speech on the 17th of November 1993 that effectively ended the government of Chief Ernest Shonekon, the interim national government that many term to be illegal. But whether we like it or not, Ernest Shonekon was head of the government. So he was head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces at that point. But he was asked to step aside. Let's listen to the Abacha speech.
Speaker to the resignation of the former head of the interim national government and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Chief Ernest Shonekon, and my subsequent appointment as head of state and commander-in-chief, I have had extensive consultations within the armed forces hierarchy and other well-meaning Nigerians in the bid to find solutions to the various political, economic, and social problems which have engulfed our beloved country and which have made life most difficult to the ordinary citizens of this nation. Chief Ernest Shonekon took over as head of state and commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces at the most trying time in the history of our country. Politically, economically, and socially, there were lots of uncertainties. Things appeared bleak, and the atmosphere was heavy with uncertainty. However, driven by the belief in himself, his countrymen, and love for his country, he accepted to face the challenges of our time. I would therefore like to take this opportunity to pay tribute to him for his selfless service to the nation. He showed great courage at taking on the daunting task of heading the international government, even a greater courage to know when to lead. Many have expressed fears about the apparent return of the military. Many have talked about the concern of the international community. However, under the present circumstances, the survival of our beloved country is far above any other consideration. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must therefore solve our problems ourselves. We must lay a very solid foundation for the growth of true democracy. We should avoid any ad hoc or temporary solutions. The problems must be addressed calmly, objectively, decisively, and with all sincerity of purpose. Consequently, the following decisions come into immediate effect. The international government is hereby dissolved. The national and state assemblies are also dissolved. The state executive councils are dissolved. The brigade commanders are to take over from the governors in their states until administrators are appointed. Where there are no brigade commanders, the commissioners of police in the states are to take over. All local governments stand dissolved. The directors of personnel are to take over the administration of the local government until administrators are appointed. The National Electoral Commission is hereby dissolved. All former secretaries to federal ministries are to hand over to their director generals until ministers are appointed. The two political parties are hereby dissolved. All processions, political meetings, and associations of any type in any part of the country are hereby banned. Any consultative committee, by whatever name called, is hereby proscribed. Decree 61 of 1993 is hereby abrogated. The Provisional Ruling Council is hereby established. It will comprise the head of state, commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as chairman, the chief of general staff as vice chairman, the honorable minister of defense, the chief of defense staff, service chiefs, the inspector general of police, the attorney general and minister of justice, the internal affairs minister, the foreign affairs minister, and the national security advisor. Legislative powers will reside in the council. States will be governed by civilian administrators to be appointed later. Also, a federal executive council will be put in place. Our security system will be enhanced to ensure that lives of citizens, property of individuals are protected and preserved. Drugs trafficking and other economic crimes such as 419 must be tackled and eliminated. On the current strike throughout the nation, following the increase in the price of fuel, I appeal to all the trade unions to return to work immediately. We cannot afford further dislocation and destruction of our economy. On the closed media houses, government is hereby lifting the order of restriction with immediate effect. We, however, appeal to the media houses that in this spirit of national reconciliation, we should show more restraint and build a united and peaceful Nigeria. Fellow Nigerians, the events of the past month, starting from the announcement of the June 12 presidential election, culminating in the appointment of the former head of state, Chief Anna Shanekan, are well known to you. The economic downturn has undoubtedly been aggravated by the ongoing political crisis. We require well thought out and permanent solution and reform of the following major institutions and reform of the following major.
Now talking about GDP, and he lasted for about 5 years. I don't know. Sometimes I used to say how brief is brief in Nigeria. But what interests me in Abacha government is that he paid dollars to 22 naira exchange rate, and that helped us. We also analyze how we improved our economic reserve and the rest. It's unfortunate how he died, but I felt he had good plans for the country. When I was doing my youth service in Drinking,
You think what he was doing then was in the interest of Nigerians?
he said,
Do you think his campaign was in the genuine interest of Nigerians?
actually during his campaign, all this thing is, he was hired now, he was paid, and he also rent cars to do all those
He
things.
was making his cool cash, and
Yes.
suddenly he disappeared. Don't you think he's ashamed of what he did, because nobody has seen him since ever then?
Actually, the southern forgets to take his boss. He also has to take to his needs now. So
Okay.
can enjoy some of the ones we have gathered.
Yeah, thank you very much for your contribution.
They are welcome.
Thanks a lot. We really do appreciate. Yeah. So as I was telling you, I'm telling you about the Dele Giwa assassination. On 19th October 1986, Giwa phoned Colonel Halilu Akilu, the director of the Directorate of Military Intelligence, that is talking about the DMI, to ask why he had been calling his house the previous day. Akilu was alleged to have explained that he only wanted to tell Giwa that their earlier misunderstandings had been resolved. Ray Epu says Giwa replied Akilu that it wasn't over and that he had already informed his lawyer, Chief Gani Fawemi, to follow up on the matter. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
This is Leo, the radio senator, calling from Amanda.
Okay, Leo from Apata, the radio senator. You're welcome to the show. Your contribution quickly.
Yes. First of all, let me appreciate you for the good work you are doing.
Thank you very much.
You are doing a great job. You are awake. I've grown in my life to discover and to know the difference between democracy and military regime. In short, the worst part of democracy is better, far more better than move anywhere. I could remember one of the things I dislike military regime. Okay, look at the roads we have upon all the things that these people did. The money, the so-called dollars down and all those things. No infrastructure. It is now only one single shallow lane. But today, go outside, see what they are doing. Dualization, making double lane from so much areas we are witnessing. I think we must give kudos to the present administration and also try to have faith in it, because there is nothing good that comes easy. We have insecurity. Yes. This is why and what these people, the present administration, they try to see how they can deal with it. They can't just leave it, because some enemies are so wild that they don't want anything good for the common man in this country. So I must commend your effort in doing all these things, because these things, some people may not understand why we are always advocating for a civilian regime. In those days of the military regime, you can't have your studio. You can't talk. You can't criticize government. You'll be bundled and put in a black prison. But now everybody has the right to decide his franchise, exercise his right, so that you can, people, and when we are talking like this, government listens, and after we complain, they will come and fix those things that they are doing, but gradually. So I must commend the military, the civilian administration. We said no to military administration again in this country. We said no to it because it is evil.
And it will never happen again. Thank you very much, the radio senator. Yes, now I have the right to contest election anywhere I want to. As a civilian, I can contest anywhere I want to. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, this is Bob.
Bob, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Jos.
What part of Jos?
Jos South.
Bob, you're welcome to the show. Your contribution quickly, Bob.
I say I'm calling you from Jos South, but there's no Jos South in Plateau.
There's Jos South now. What part of Jos South? What area?
I agree with me.
I agree with you. There's Jos South.
You want to give me an appointment? Or you want to give me money or Christmas gift? So let's put that aside. I'm calling from Jos South, and you have known my voice. My voice doesn't change. It's a common voice. So that's apart. Coming on what you are saying, history is very important in this country. It's because we lack history That's why we are repeating wrong things in this country. And when you talk of military regime, from the time of Gowon, those that became head of state, there are 7 in totality, military regime. And out of that 7, 6 is from the north, from Gowon time to date. 6 is from the north as the head of state. It's only OBJ that is from the southwest, and he happens to become a head of state, as a result of the death of Murtala Mohammed.
How about Agu in Ronsi?
You say what?
How about Agu in Ronsi?
I mentioned from Gowon now. I take it up from Gowon.
Okay. Yeah, you're
So
right.
that is that number. And so Obasanjo happened to come in as an accidental head of state because Murtala died. Even as civilian president, he happened to become accidental president because of MKO Abiola, that they robbed his election. You understand me? So he never came in through coup under military. So the real people from the north came in through coup. So that apart, one thing I know is that the best military head of state that I will say from this six from the north is Idiagbon Buhari. Let me put it Buhari and Idiagbon, but Idiagbon was doing the war. Doing Idiagbon, we don't see all these things you may be saying in this country. Any negative things, lawlessness, you don't see it. Cocaine, they can't see today and tomorrow in Lagos and everywhere. You don't see it. This is a man who started an example who said if anybody that puts cocaine should be arrested and executed. That even if it's father that puts cocaine, he should be executed. They thought it was a lie. People they caught in Lagos, they executed. They executed. And that was the end of pushing cocaine in doing their regime. Corruption is not anywhere. You chop chewing-gum, you throw it on the ground. Who born you? Who are you? This is a man that started himself as an
That is
example.
war against
You
discipline.
understand me? Leadership by example. That is what you should abide by. Either civilian government or military government. Leadership by example is what matters. So if you are a leader, what you don't want people to do, you don't do it. And let us see who will do it. That is how it works in the administration. You understand me? So, all the military government has never favored this country. You understand me? The only one I can say in favor of this is that of Idiagbon. That is the only one. You understand me? We know it. Anybody who doesn't witness it, you go and find out for people who witness it. They don't discriminate. They don't know who you are. They don't know if you are a rich man. Whoever you are, they don't care. That is leadership for you. But when you marry settlement into leadership, you will say, you understand me? Their government is the government and respect so far the kingdom come.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think what he's trying to say is that uh, that is my understanding. I think the civilian administration, civilian government still has an upper hand, but that's the truth. We've always said it here. The best democracy. I think the radio senator also said it that the worst democracy is better than the what you can term the best military rule. Yes, the numbers are still open. The lines are still open. You can call to make your contribution. The number to call is 08064641536. Hello, good morning. Yeah, your name and where you're calling from.
Mr. Aliu Garba calling from Utonkoro.
Aliu Garba, you're welcome to the show.
Yes.
Your contribution quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Ferdinand. Let me say less concerning this topic of discussion. You see, the truth of the matter is that to me, militarism is more better than civilianism because if you look at most of the infrastructure projects in this country, the development projects were done under the military. The fact the fact that the Third Mainland Bridge, the Ajakuta Store, Tail Rolling Mills, to mention but a few, these are some of the developmental projects that were done under the military regime. And by extension to Abacha regime, Abacha has the best stabilization policy. When you look at it, when you look at the tools of our monetary policy, open market operation, fiscal policy during Abacha, how much was our exchange rate, naira to dollar? the indicators, economic indicators you consider when you are trying to make comparison between military and civilian regime. The same one of your callers said that was introduced by the civilian regime, it was actually under Abacha during his transition to from military to civilian. That's when he created, he initiated this idea of the mobile phones you are using today. So people with little or no knowledge of the history will not understand. Because despite the fact that, yes, we know that during the military, when it comes to freedom of expression, we find it very difficult and hard to get out our grievances. But yet, in a democratic setting, whereby we have freedom of expression, what has that yielded the much needed desired result? That is just the fact, Mr. President. I think I wouldn't like to talk too much. This is the little I can say.
Yeah, thank you very much for your contribution. But as we will always say, the worst democracy is better than the best military regime. That's just the truth about it. So, talking about the assassination of Newswatch journalist Dele Giwa in 1986, Ray Epo says Giwa replied Akilu that it wasn't over and that he had already informed his lawyers, a particular one, Chief Gani Fahimi, to follow up on the matter. Akilu then told Giwa that there was no need for that it wasn't the matter for lawyers, and that he should consider the matter resolved. About 40 minutes after the telephone conversation with Akilu, a package was delivered to Giwa's guard. The account of which vehicle was used to deliver the package vary. When Giwa received the package, he was with Kayode Soyinka, his London bureau chief of Newswatch. The package exploded, mortally wounding Giwa and temporarily defaming Soyinka, who had excused himself to the restroom shortly before Giwa was supposed to have attempted opening the package. Giwa was rushed to the hospital where he eventually died from his wounds. In testimony that he gave on the 3rd of July 2001 before the Justice Oputa-led Human Rights Violation Investigation Commission, Abubakar Sav, a former high-ranking police officer at the time of Giwa's assassination, saddled with the responsibility of unraveling the crime, alleged that the government stonewalled his investigation. Sav claimed that he was not granted permission to question key actors involved, including Tunde Togun, Ismail Agwazo, and Halilu Akilu. He also said that he had requested that the privileges of these officers be withdrawn so he could take their statements and conduct a search of their offices and residences for items of evidential value but this request was denied. Sav averred that in his final report he had concluded that there was enough circumstantial evidence to accuse the duo of Togun and Akilu of conspiracy to murder, but still the government did not make these two officers available for interrogation or voice identification as he had requested. Hello, good morning. Okay, we've lost that. You can still call. The number to call is 080-6464-1536. Abubakar Sav claims that he handed the case file back to Chris Omeben. Sav alleged that none of his recommendations were implemented. The case file was never returned to him, and that there was no evidence that the case was transferred to another officer or agency. Sav actually said he believed Giwa was killed because he was in the way of some powerful forces. After the investigation stalled, various conspiracy theories arose to explain why Giwa was killed. One of the most popular and still the most enduring has Rob Moole, working for the wife of General Ibrahim Babangida, who was then the chief of army staff in the regime of General Muhammadu Buhari. The theorists allege that during interrogation, Okon had claimed that she worked for highly placed Nigerians, in particular Babangida's wife. The theory goes on that Babangida Togun, which Togun gave to airport correspondents of the Guardian newspaper on Haji Mohammed Lawal Rafindadi in 1985, following a request by the Supreme Military Council request by the Supreme Military Council, the NSO under Rafin Dadi investigated Babangida and found him complicit of forgery and activities inimical to national security. This issue arose as a result of Babangida and his in-law, Mr. Soni Okogu's interest in an arms manufacturing venture in Kaduna called Black Gold. The Supreme Military Council, based on the NSO's finding, slated Babangida for retirement. The only witness to the event shortly before the bomb exploded, Mr. Kayode Soyinka, had alleged that the package had a label with the seal of the Nigerian president and also claimed that the label indicated that it was from the office of the president. However, no other witness has corroborated this claim. Giwa's 17-year-old son Billy, who had delivered the package to Giwa, had never corroborated this claim. In 2008, the government of Nigeria named a street in the new federal capital territory of Abuja after Dele Giwa, as they did when other activists such as Fela Anikulapo Kuti and Ken Saro-Wiwa also died. The issue of Ken Saro-Wiwa is one issue we'll also be looking at in the coming days. Yes, himself and 8 others were executed by hanging, or is it by electric chair, by hanging in 1995 by the Abacha government. Yes, for treason. We'll talk about that. Definitely we'll talk about that in the coming days. Well, we don't have a lot of time, so let me just deviate a little and tell you about one funny happening, one funny issue that happened in 1971. Yes, on the 24th of November 1971, during a severe thunderstorm. This is internationally, it's not a Nigerian story. During a severe thunderstorm over Washington State, a hijacker calling himself Dan Cooper parachuted from Northwest Orient Airlines. A massive search failed to find any trace. After decades of fruitless inquiries, the lead investigators began to publicly suggest Cooper had been killed and all physical evidence lost in the wilderness. Although the FBI nonetheless continued the hunt for Dan Cooper until 2016. Belief that Cooper did not survive was bolstered by the fact that none of the money has ever been used. A quantity was found under riverbank silt, but its location is consistent with Cooper dying or losing the ransom in the jump. The FBI no longer has the agent on the case, but has requested that any potential physical evidence that might emerge in relation to the parachute or the ransom money be submitted for analysis. That is national issues. The important national issues we looked at today is national issues. The important national issues we looked at today is the Abacha government, which lasted from 1993 until his sudden death on the 8th of June 1998. And also the 20th October 1986 assassination of Newswatch editor Dele Giwa. These are the two national issues we talked about. And I really do want to thank all of you who were able to call to make your contributions. I know some of you just really, really want to get abreast with some of the things we are talking about before you could make your contributions. I'm aware of that. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you must talk about the current issues we are talking about. You can still talk about some of the past issues we've discussed, and let's also subject them into some level of analysis if you can still remember. And also some of the things we've talked about, and you can have better information than us. You can still call to make your addition, make your contribution. There was a professor that called some time back and really gave us some enlightenment on the Yakubu Gowon administration, which lasted from 1966 until 1975. He said he was alive at that period and understood some of the intricacies. So you could be part of that pool and call to make your contribution. I must tell you that your son, your daughter, has the right to know about her past. So it is criminal if you try to hide who you really are from your daughter or from your son. We've had a 12-year-old call to appreciate this program. And as we tell you, always make references, we always recommend books for you to study. There are people who really want to know about, there are some people who really want to know about the first military coup, first and second military coup. Some have called me personally. I've made recommendations. I will still make these recommendations public. There are some people who were real actors in this rebellion of 1966. For the first military coup, I will recommend this book, Why We Struck. Why We Struck by Adewale Ademoyega. Adewale Ademoyega is among the original ringleaders of the 15th January 1966 coup. So you can go and get that book from your bookshop. That book is everywhere. If you can't get it, your bookshop, you can go online, get it at Amazon or udarabooks.com. Then there is Nigeria's Five Majors. Nigeria's Five Majors by Ben Gule. He's also another member of the revolution, but was in Kaduna with Major Nzogu on the night of that coup. So join us again tomorrow.
Politics, power, discover what it all means.
I'm wasting time talk. I cannot come see my phone.
Your phone is there.
Where?
National debate.
Wasting time you talk there.
10 o'clock.
This is our season perspective with Mbum Ferdinand.
Eh?
I'm really not.
I don't say 10 don't reach you. I just have like 5 minutes to. I bet help me come out this thing. Okay. I beg, sorry, no vex. I don't enter your time. I beg.
Okay, you see the voice note I sent you. The first one is for the general one. How you join with other people. Yes. Then the other one.
Let me carry that. Let me carry that envelope.
Put it under one hippo.
Carry the envelope. Oh boy, that cool speech. What's the DSS not come find us?
I did tell you. Maybe that one said. This story of Delegate had 9 DSS go find
No.
No, because we said. Because I know this is a lot of controversy.
My bag inside, I beg. My bag inside.
This Delegate one, now they see they will come carry himself.